Thank you everyone for gathering here today. Before we begin, I'd like to invite Jaime Batiste from the Mi'kmaq Nation and a Member of Parliament for Sydney Victoria and Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Crown Indigenous Relationships to give the land acknowledgement. Let's put our hands together for Jaime.
Gwe, waldasi te gwe wama, walagu, chit delis gudamek, delji gitna modesty squijinuk, Tamil delawirid geek, chilaso dip, waldasi te gwe wama. I always start off in the Mi'kmaq language. I'm a Mi'kmaq from Cape Breton. I am the Parliamentary Secretary to Minister Gary, and he's been a friend before. He was my minister, and I said that it would be an honor to do a welcoming and a land acknowledgement on behalf of the Indigenous people of Canada for this event in remembrance. And I just want to, in my language, I welcomed you all for this event, and just wanted to acknowledge the land of the Algonquin people which we are standing and having this event today. And I just want to wish you all I can't say a happy Remembrance Day, but a somber remembrance in such a, when we're talking about an issue like this. And just wanted to, in my language, just say a few words in prayer. Uchino walaliek dan deldi mawaliek waldasi de gwe no waldasi gizu dan deldi gimi like udani minu gaha no meso admino adliach. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaime, for the prayers. I would like to ask you all to stand for a moment of silence for all the people that we have lost to the genocide. Thank you. Vanakkam. We invite you to join us with our parliamentarians, community leaders, the Quebec Tamil Community Centre, and other members of the Tamil community on Parliament Hill, Ottawa, to commemorate the Tamil genocide. Nous vous invitons à nous rejoindre avec nos parlementaires, chefs communautaires, la Centre communautaire Tamil du Québec et d'autres membres de la communauté Tamil sur la colline de Parlement à Ottawa pour commémorer la génocide Tamil. Mark this year, May 18th, Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day. As we approach this solemn anniversary, Tamils across the globe stand in solidarity with the victims, survivors, and their families in the north and east of Sri Lanka. Together, we strive to unveil the truth, bring accountability for those responsible for atrocities, and ultimately achieve justice. For the Tamil community worldwide, this year, May 18th, will mark the 15th anniversary of the Mullainvikkal genocide and the second Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day as declared by the Prime Minister and the party's leaders' declaration in 2022. It is also the second year since it's recognized by the Parliament. We thank our parliamentarians for recognizing the genocide of Tamils in Sri Lanka and sharing May 18th of each year as Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day. On January 10, 2023, Canada imposed sanctions on Sri Lanka government leaders, including former Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and President Mahinda Rajapaksa. We wholeheartedly thank our parliamentarians and government for taking this vital step towards justice for the crimes of genocide committed by several Sri Lankan governments. The Tamil diaspora continues to advocate and seek justice in all possible avenues. We look forward to justice via global courts, either ICJ, ICC, or a special tribunal in the future. Next, I'd like to give a warm welcome to our keynote speaker, a resilient survivor of the Tamil genocide. His lived experiences and profound insights offer a reminder of the enduring impact of historical atrocities. We extend our warmest welcome to Prinaven Thangavil, whose courage and resilience inspire us all.
And thank you, everyone, and thank you, Carrie, to hosting this event. And also, நன்றி எல்லோருக்கும் இந்த நிகழ்வுக்கு வந்ததுக்கு. This is very important event for Tamils. Finally, we are not reaching our justice, but we just passed 1 mile 2022. The Canada Parliament accept as a genocide day. So, as a survivor from the genocide, I'm really thankful for Canada and all the parliament members from Canada right now. So I really say thanks for them. And also, this is really hard for me to share my experience, but someone have to speak. I think when I am 17 or 18 years old, I was in the Molivaka. So most of my lifetime I spent in Vani. So most of the genocide will happen in Vani. I can explain every single day, because every single day people are killed. Most of the Vani is including three districts. So most of the three district people are come all together in one certain place. Why we moving that place? Sri Lankan government authorities announced that place. This is the safe zone. You have to move that soon. So people are crowded to move that soon. When people reach that soon, then they are start bombing the same zone. So every bomb, people are killed. I don't know. I can bring that to in English, because I don't have the word to express that feeling. In my whole life, I'm spent there. Then after the war end, I'm just escaped from the country and moved to Canada. Most of the time, I don't want to participate this type of events, because I want to forget these memories. I don't want to erase everything from my mind. But when we come to for justice, we have to speak. So always Garian asks me, you have to speak and you have to ask for the justice for your people, whoever live with you and whoever study with you, whoever play with you. They all now, most of the people are no more, including one of my younger brother. He is still in missing list. Even my family, they didn't want me speak anywhere. But in my thought, someone have to say our feelings. Then mostly in our community, in Tamil people, they are understanding. It's our genocide. So that's why I don't want to speak anything on Tamil. I just want to bring something on English, because everyone have to understand, because we have to bring our pain and our feeling to other communities. Then we have to get the support from them. Then we can get our justice. Only we can speak with our language and with our community. We can get, because our communities understand what happened to us. Because this is not happened in 2009. This is start 1965. Before I born, the genocide is start from Sri Lanka. So it is almost 75 years. When Sri Lanka get the freedom, then Tamils starting from genocide in after Sri Lanka get the freedom. I think should be 1965 start the genocide, but day by day. the worst thing is happened in 2009, May 18. But I'm always blame the international community because when the war is starting in our many places, all the international communities are left us alone. Even ICRC is not there. All the international companies are left from the area. Then our own government kill us. That's why it's a really painful us because we trust our government and we live there. But they kill they kill their own citizen from their countries. I can share maybe one of my experience to your people. I think it is happened from Marthalan Hospital. Because we always living in the sea land area. So I think it's behind the Marthalan Hospital. When we're sitting, I think it's early morning. It will happen around 6 or 7 o'clock. So a lot of memories I have it, but I just bring this story because it's really close to my heart. I think morning around 7:30 or 7:45, when they start selling. So when they're selling, everyone we have to go to our bungers and we have to pay our flight. So when we moved to the bunker, it's I think around 45, 46 years old, one man, he got injured on his leg and he fell down in front of my bunker. So I am at the bunker finishing the shell, but he just told me, help me, it's bleeding. I can't control myself. I'm just trying to go and get it. But on the same time, it's another woman coming to the same direction. When I go and trying to help him, another old man come from another bunker, and he trying to help him too. But when I reach him, this man just pulled me out, and your cell will come into same direction where I am. But I'm just fell down, and everything in this trauma is done in 3-4 seconds. After everything done, I'm just get up and check everything. But the person who saved my life, his neck hit through there. That point should be my life after gone, but that person saved my life. At that moment, I can't forget that moment. Every time when the May is coming, my memory is always around that area. And also, I have some few words to things. I think that I want to go more things here. I'm always going to forget this moment, to erase this moment, my memories. Okay, we are Tamils. We have been encouraging the world and seeking the justice for the Tamil genocide. Occurred still in Sri Lanka. However, the world has been blind. Thank you, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his colleagues and Canadian parliamentarians. The first country, Canada, will recognize the double genocide in Sri Lanka. I believe this is the result of our patient and timeless hard work. Additionally, I believe the world has been started to wake up and listen our crisis because the truth never sleeps. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranavan, for your courage to share your story. And we will not forget, and our government will bring justice to all Tamils affected by this atrocious genocide. Next, I'd like to invite Annie Koutrakis, Member of Parliament of Vimy and Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Tourism and Minister of Tourism.
An honor for me to be here amongst friends, the Tamil community who has embraced me since my journey began in 2019. I can't even begin to tell you how sorry I am to be here commemorating this with you, this moment with you, because I wish it had never happened. I was listening to the young man's words that the international community let us down, let the Tamil community down. And I wish that wasn't the case. We could see that the world, unfortunately, time and time again, history repeats itself. And we all, come to the podium from time to time and we deliver the same speeches saying never again and never again. I truly, truly hope that never again is realized. But I don't remain very hopeful, to be very honest with you. In light of what's going on in the world right now, it's hard to remain optimistic. I know that our government is very dedicated and very supportive of the Tamil community. I think we've demonstrated it. Maybe it came not as quickly as the community would have liked, but I think at the end of the day, we stepped up and we delivered, and we will continue to deliver. We're commemorating 15 years of the genocide and 2 years since the sanctions on those two gentlemen. I shouldn't call them gentlemen in Sri Lanka. Let's stop this. Let's work all together and make sure that the voices are heard. The voices of the lost continue to remain alive. You can always count on my support to be the strong voice in anything that I could do. And I don't want to speak for my government, but I think I will go out on a limb and speak for my government and tell you that we are committed to stand by the Tamil community, and we will get there together and make sure that justice prevails. Thank you.
Thank you. Et pour la prochaine personne, je veux inviter une personne qui a été déterminante dans l'adoption de cette motion-là. Il est le membre de parlement de Lac-Saint-Jean de Bloc québécois, M. Alexis Brunel-Duceppe.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, je pense que c'est une journée extrêmement importante, ce jour de commémoration du génocide des Tamouls. Il y a des gens qui ont travaillé extrêmement fort pour qu'on puisse être ici aujourd'hui. Gary Nadansan Gary a été un champion pour cette cause-là. On a travaillé ensemble et c'est la preuve qu'entre différents partis, on est capable d'arriver à des résultats. Maintenant, cette commémoration-là, elle est importante pas seulement pour vous, pas seulement pour votre peuple, mais pour tous les peuples et toutes les populations qui ont subi ces répressions-là, qui ont subi ces génocides-là. Parce que lorsqu'on réussit à faire reconnaître un génocide, bien, on donne de l'espoir à des populations qui, elles, travaillent encore aujourd'hui à essayer de faire reconnaître le leur. Il faut savoir être du bon côté de l'histoire et je pense que ce Parlement-là a réussi à faire son devoir, peut-être avec un petit peu trop de temps. Ça a pris beaucoup de temps, beaucoup de travail acharné, mais on y est arrivé. Et je veux souligner l'importance de ce résultat-là parce que c'est pas dans tous les parlements qu'on réussit à s'entendre sur des sujets qui peuvent être sensibles quelquefois, qui peuvent brusquer les gens. Donc, aujourd'hui, à partir de maintenant, vous pouvez partager cette histoire-là, vous pouvez partager aussi cette motion-là qui a été votée dans différents parlements pour la faire adopter ailleurs. Vous pouvez vous servir de ça comme outil pour faire reconnaître ce génocide-là sur d'autres territoires, dans d'autres parlements, dans d'autres démocraties, qu'elles soient occidentales ou pas. Je vous remercie infiniment. On pense à vous toujours quand on fait ce travail-là. On pense à vos souffrances. On fait notre travail pour être certain qu'on n'oublie personne. Et aujourd'hui, ben, il faut souligner l'effort que tous les parlementaires ont fait pour pouvoir se parler. Et ils l'ont fait pour vous, pour faire en sorte que vous puissiez aujourd'hui avoir le jour de commémoration du génocide des Tamouls. Donc, c'est quelque chose de difficile à chaque année de mettre ça de l'avant, de voir les souffrances qui ont été causées par des tortionnaires, par des bourreaux, par des gens qui ont commis probablement le pire crime qui puisse exister sur Terre, c'est-à-dire l'effacement d'une population simplement pour ce qu'elle est. Et aujourd'hui, on peut enfin pouvoir le commémorer. Donc, je vous remercie infiniment de l'attention. On va continuer ce genre de bataille-là ensemble et vous êtes un exemple et vous allez susciter l'espoir partout à travers le monde grâce à votre travail acharné. Merci tout le monde.
From the Conservative Party, let's put our hands together for Garnet Genius.
Hello, friends. Bonsoir. C'est un grand plaisir d'être avec vous ce soir. And as we commemorate the Tamil genocide, and I want to just briefly share greetings as well from our party leader, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here, Pierre Polyev. But I think many of you know that he's been very actively engaged in many Tamil community events. We're here to reflect on the Tamil genocide and continuing injustices against the Tamil people in Sri Lanka. And I can remember back to, I think it was early 2016, the first big Tamil event I went to in Toronto. And I was introduced as the descendant of the grandson of genocide survivors, speaking to genocide survivors. My grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. And so the stories of genocide are things that I grew up with in my family. And just reflecting on the circumstances of my grandmother's survival, but on how many people in her family did not survive, and how at the end of the Second World War, there was a commitment by the international community to the idea of never again would we allow this sort of thing happen. And we have failed. We failed to deliver on that promise that was made to my grandmother's generation. In the short time that I've been a member of Parliament, about 9 years, there have been multiple instances of genocides taking place contemporaneously, and in some cases being recognized by Parliament. And of course, the Tamil genocide as well happening before that. So we need to recommit ourselves to taking that commitment seriously. And it's easy to say, but there are hard political choices that have to be made. There are powerful people that have to be confronted. There is a prioritization that is required of us if we are going to deliver on that promise. And I want to say, in the context of the Tamil genocide, I think what we need is we need clarity around the position of the government on government recognition of the genocide and on the greater push for international engagement in the investigation. I think we need more and stronger sanctions against those who were responsible for the genocide and who are responsible for ongoing violations of the rights of the Tamil people. And we need to use all of the tools we have at the executive level to advocate for those investigations and prosecutions through the appropriate international bodies. I was at a hearing a few years ago where the Tamil genocide was actually used as an example of impunity, a case where members of the international community were able to identify and see what was happening, and share with the Sri Lankan generals, hey, we see what you're doing, so you should stop. And impunity has gotten to such a point where those generals were able to say, we know you see, we don't care. So we need to end impunity for the sake of the Tamil people and for the sake of all peoples everywhere, such that when these crimes are seen and identified, those who are perpetrating them know there will be severe, unrelenting consequences for that violence. And I commit to you my support and the continuing support of my party in the pursuit of justice and reconciliation. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Garnet. Next, we'd like to have from the National Council of Canadian Tamils, Anusian Arusodi.
Good evening, everyone. The Tamil people in the island of Sri Lanka have endured Sri Lankan state-sponsored, deliberate schemes aimed at destroying the attributes of the Tamil nation, including their culture, language, livelihood, and their identity, threatening their safety and security. The ongoing structural genocide of the Tamil people today is being carried out through genocidal acts such as Sri Lankan state-sponsored surveillance, intimidation, harassment, arrests, violence, Buddhization, colonization, militarization, and land grabs. These type of acts and other acts are being used to continue the subjugation of Tamil people in the island of Sri Lanka. None of the perpetrators of the Mullawaikal massacre or other genocidal acts that were committed against the Tamil people since 1948 in the island of Sri Lanka have been held accountable. Sri Lanka's unwillingness to take concrete steps to address accountability and justice for the genocide committed against the Tamil peoples means that the only way to determine the facts and identify those responsible is by establishing an international independent investigation and prosecutorial mechanism that has the trust and confidence of the victims of the Tamil genocide. In the absence of accountability and justice, Sri Lanka has become a failed state. The impunity continues with senior military officials and politicians being promoted despite their role in the genocide committed against Tamil people. There is no hope for reconciliation in Sri Lanka due to the sheer lack of accountability and justice for the 7 decades-long Tamil genocide that continues to this day. The passage of time and the fact that very few survivors remain who serve as reminders of indescribable brutality and torment compel a sense of urgency to find accountability and justice for the Tamil genocide. As we gather here today to commemorate and to memorialize on Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day, let us recommit ourselves to continue advocating to achieve international recognition, international accountability, and remedial justice for the Tamil genocide, and for a permanent political solution based on their right to self-determination to address the legitimate political aspirations of the Tamil people in the island of Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call upon Marco Len, Minister of Women and Gender Equality of Youth.
Marcy? Yes, that's okay. That's okay. It's close enough. Hi, everybody. I am Marcy. I am the Minister for Women and Gender Equality and Youth, and I can't tell you how honored I am to be here with you today. I was reflecting that back in 2004, I visited Sri Lanka. I used to be a reporter before I got to this place, and there was a tsunami, and I went to cover it. And so I was there for quite a while and talking to people who had lost so much, and in hearing the stories around that time, so many shared stories about this time and the losses. So as I stand here today, it is about the importance of keeping those stories alive, of telling the stories of those that have suffered and have lost and continue to, and making sure that we continue to have places like this where we can come, and albeit a sad and devastating commemoration, the fact that we keep this alive is so very important. These stories are generational stories. I shared time with grandparents and their grandkids, families who had been impacted, continued to be impacted. And while I was there covering one thing, it was very much about this. And so I wanted to share with you today just how important it is to continue to speak out and speak up, and that we are dedicated as a government to a person. Minister Nanda Sangri, thank you so much for the invite today and for having me here. But to a person, MPs, we are committed. We are committed to being here for you and making sure that you are always heard. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marcy. Next, we'd like to have from the Transnational Government of Tamil Eelam, Madhumita Devakumar.
Thank you. Good evening. Bonjour. Dear ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Tamil Canadian youth, we gratefully acknowledge Canada's firm stance on the issue of the Tamil genocide in Sri Lanka. We are also proud of the motion that acknowledges the genocide of Tamils in Sri Lanka and is a significant step as it makes Canada one of the first national parliament in the world to do so. Furthermore, Canada has been actively advocating for the rights of victims and survivors internationally. We, as Canadian Tamil youth, humbly acknowledge Canada's commitment to the human rights and support of the Tamil community both within and outside its borders. We shall continue our plea, Canadian government, until our justice for our long-suffering ethnic cleansing of the Tamil community by the Sri Lankan state. Thank you. Merci.
Next, I'd like to call upon Leah Taylor-Roy, Member of Parliament of the riding of Aurora, Oak Ridge, Richmond Hill, from the Liberal Party.
Thank you, and it's an honor to be with you here this evening. I always like to say once you're elected a member of Parliament, you're a member of Parliament for everyone, so party doesn't matter. So, but in my riding of Aurora, Oak Ridge, Richmond Hill, we have a very vibrant Tamil community. And I've gotten to know a lot of the people and attended the temple and have heard stories of what happened. And I think as a Canadian, it's hard for us to understand living through something like that. And so I'm proud that our government does recognize the genocide that happened in Sri Lanka. I too had the opportunity to visit Sri Lanka. It's a beautiful country, and when I read stories of families that were uprooted, of homes that were burnt down, people that were tortured, I can't imagine what it must have been like for so many of the families that were forced to leave. As always in Canada, those who leave their country and come here make Canada richer and stronger and more culturally diverse, and the Tamil community has certainly done that for Canada. So thank you for everything you do for our country, and I truly hope that justice will be served in addressing what happened in your homeland. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to call upon Member of Parliament from Kitchener-Conestoga, Tim Lewis from the Liberal Party.
I was not expecting to speak. I came here to listen. I came here to hear about you. I came here to see the pictures and hear the stories. I think that's the most important thing. So one of the very first events that I went to as a member of Parliament newly elected was a Tamil event. And the community made me feel at home. And one of the proudest moments was to bring Minister Anna Sangduri to our community to meet everyone. And they said, can we bring a few people to your office to say hi? And showed up with about 45 people in an office that did not fit 45 people. And we had food and celebrated together, and it was one of the most memorable nights of my entire life. So it's that selflessness that gives me hope, and that we gather here today to make sure that we remember what happened and say that it will not happen again. And I will do everything I can to make sure your voices continue to be heard. So I thank you for this invitation from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you once again to all the Member of Parliaments present at this event. Next, I'd like to call upon from the Quebec Tamil Community Center, Vinod Navajivanda.
Good afternoon. My name is Vinod Navadivananda, the Executive Director for the Quebec Tamil Community Center. The Tamil Community Center seeks to preserve the Tamil language and culture while strengthening the community. Through the provision of services and access to resources, we are dedicated to the support, development, and growth of our community members, as well as the social, cultural, and educational institutions therein. The center's vision is to create an open space where members of the community can unite, heal, collaborate, and grow. Today we mark the solemn 15th year anniversary of the Mullainwaykal massacre in Sri Lanka, a stark reminder of the depths of human suffering. The deliberate targeting of Tamil civilians, the destruction of our communities, and the denial of humanitarian aid bear witness to its genocidal intent. But our remembrance must not end here. Today we also confront ongoing injustices in Sri Lanka, where the Tamil community continues to face discrimination and marginalization. Measures that treat them as second-class citizens persist, denying them basic rights and freedoms. Just last month, Amnesty International reported on the arbitrary detention and harassment of Tamil activists by the Sri Lankan authorities, highlighting the continued suppression of dissent and targeting of Tamil voices for speaking out against injustice. Moreover, recent amendments to Sri Lanka's Prevention of Terrorism Act, PTA, have raised concerns among human rights organizations, as they grant authoritarian powers and broad powers of arrest and detention without adequate safeguards, disproportionately affecting Tamil communities. Furthermore, land grabs, forced evictions, disproportionately affect Tamil communities in Sri Lanka, as documented by the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the rights to adequate housing. Aid intended for marginalized Tamil areas often get diverted and withheld by the Sri Lankan government, exacerbating an existing and already dire humanitarian situation. Restrictions of freedom of expression continue to stifle dissent in the Tamil majority regions, with journalists, activists, and artists facing intimidation and censorship for speaking out against the government. The education system in Sri Lanka in Tamil majority regions also face systematic discrimination. With limited resources allocated to Tamil schools and students, this unequal access to education perpetuates socioeconomic disparities and hinders opportunities for Tamil youth. Moreover, the proliferation of drugs in the north and the east of Sri Lanka has had devastating effects on the Tamil communities, fueling addiction, crime, and social instability. The lack of effective government intervention exacerbates this crisis, leaving Tamil families vulnerable and marginalized. We continue to speak about remembering 15 years later, but we have to keep in mind that this is ongoing, systematic, intentional. However, amidst these challenges, let us not forget the resilience and achievements of our Tamil community. Through relentless advocacy, Canada and other governments have recognized the genocide against Tamils in Sri Lanka, which is a testament of our collective strength. Today we stand in solidarity, demanding justice and equality for all, and let us amplify our Tamil voices. Let us renew our commitment to a future where every individual is valued regardless of ethnicity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vinod, for raising everyone's awareness about the Tamil genocide. Next, speaking of advocates, I would like to introduce one of our biggest advocates of the Tamil community in Canada, the Honorable Gary Anand-Singari, Member of Parliament for Scarborough Rouge Park and Minister of Crown Indigenous Affairs. Minister Anand-Singari is an internationally recognized human rights lawyer and community activist who has advocated tirelessly for education and justice for the Tamil genocide. In 2022, Gary brought forth a unanimous consent motion to recognize May 18th as Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day. In fact, Canada became the first national parliament in the world to recognize May 18 of each year as Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day. Without further ado, please welcome Minister Anand-Singari.
Thank you, Akash. And let me just begin by acknowledging that we're gathered here on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. And I'm very grateful for all of you in making time to come and commemorate this evening. This is a very difficult moment for us, as every May proves to be, and I want to start by acknowledging and honoring those who perished in Mulivaikal and the conflict, genocide throughout the years. I also want to thank and honor those who survived, people like Pranavan and others who are in this room, who have valiantly and continue to tell their story, continue to tell our story, and continue to be the voice of those who survived. And it's not easy. And I've asked him way too many times to do this, and every time he obliges. But it is important that his advocacy continues. We were here on the 10th anniversary with many members of the community, including Mrs. Kandasamy, who was the pharmacist in Mulivaikal and who, right till her last breath, was fighting for her people. But we know that there's many people around the world who continue to struggle with their loss, and our solidarity is with them. So today, one of the things we wanted to do today is bring everyone together. We want to bring together organizations from different parts of the country, sometimes organizations that may not even talk to each other. It is important that we have a united voice. But it is also important that we have your country represented here in this room. And that's why we invited members from every political party. And I'm grateful that they all came to support the community and to stand in solidarity. The notion of recognizing Tamil genocide or the path towards accountability and justice is not a partisan endeavor. It is one that needs to bring everyone together. And I believe fundamentally that Tamils need to unite in this effort. And I'm grateful for those who have been walking in this path for many years. There are many important things that have happened in the last 15 years, and I want to start off with the United Nations Human Rights Council sessions. For the last 15 years, it is the only forum that has, at the very minimum, held some level of accountability towards Sri Lanka. There's at least truth searching that is going on. There are reports that actually outline many of the atrocities that we talk about. And it's well documented. For an organization that for the 26-year conflict was silent, the last 15 years have been refreshingly important. But of course, it has fallen short every time. But it is nevertheless important that we are on that path, because it is the only international forum that is going to continue to look at the notions of accountability. And I'm hoping that this September we will be able to get more guidance on what that looks like. And in that front, Canada will continue to advocate and be a member of the core group to ensure that the next steps are taken and we're able to advance on accountability. Last year, as you're aware, last January 10th, Canada became the first country in the world to sanction the Rajapaksa brothers. It's a very important step. It's a step that happened because of your advocacy, because of your work, because of your voice, because of our voice. And it is important that that we build on this. And for many, I know many have spoken to me about what is Canada going to do next, and I think there's many more things Canada can and will do. But let's make no mistake, other countries need to follow suit, so we need to work with other countries in order to advance issues for Tamils. 2 years ago, May 18, 2022, Canada became the first country, the Canadian Parliament became the first country to recognize what happened to Tamils as genocide. Again, it's an important milestone. We have walked far the last 15 years, but we have a long way to go. And I'm hoping that we will all be able to walk on that path together. But I do want to comment on recent events that are happening around the world. The Middle East is an area that we have seen a lot of bloodshed, a lot of tragedy, a lot of horrific incidents. And as we sleep at night, we think about the people in Rafah and the enormous struggle that they face today in the face of atrocity and the loss of life. And we have to express solidarity and support to ensure that this stops. We're a moment in time where we cannot normalize death. We cannot normalize killings. We cannot normalize the death of children, innocent children who never had to, who did nothing to deserve their fate. So as we look at our own struggle, as we try to ensure that we have accountability and peace, we should also ensure that those around the world, in Sudan, in Yemen, in half a dozen other countries who are struggling, are not struggling, because wars kill people. That is the intention of war. And we want a peaceful world. We want a world in which all of us can live in peace and harmony and together. So I'm really grateful for all of you. I want to acknowledge Samir Zuberi, who's here today. He's a member from Pierre Fond Dollard. I want to thank all of you who took the time to come here. Quebec Tamil Community Center. We booked this space for the Quebec Tamil Community Center back in December, and they were grateful enough to allow me to do this today because we wanted to NCCT, TGT, Ottawa Tamil photo book with some incredible stories, and I want to thank him for being an eyewitness and being able to tell that story. I also want to thank Supindra for all the work that he has done, and the whole team that have been that are here. So with that, I think I'm going to I'm going to conclude the event. Thank Akash for his leadership, and for those of you who have not been able to lay flowers, I'm going to invite you to please come and do so. As you go, there's kanji. Kanji is a traditional. It's a pot of rice with water, which is really the symbol of Muliwaikal, because as people were struggling and who were not fed properly, kanji became their source of nutrition and food, and it sustained them. And for all events relating to Muliwaikal, kanji is what we use. And finally, I want to thank and acknowledge our Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Melanie Joly, for her incredible leadership, support, and friendship, and determination. I have been Melanie's friend, but also her greatest troublemaker, I think, in making her move mountains is probably the way I can describe. So Melanie, I'm so grateful that you're here today. This is an important day for the Tamil community as we mark the Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day. But your leadership on this has been remarkable, and I want to thank you profusely on behalf of the Tamil community. Nandri, merci, thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Anand Singari, for everything you do for the Tamil community and your continuous advocacy for not just the Tamil community, but for every community. As we draw this event to a close, I am compelled to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every individual present here. I extend my deepest appreciation to the multitude of organizations, distinguished members of parliament, and esteemed community leaders whose unwavering advocacy has propelled the cause of Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day forward. Together, we stand committed to pursuing justice for all those impacted by these tragic events. And as we approach May 18th, let us pledge to eternally honor the memory of those we have lost and ensure that their stories are never forgotten. We will strive for justice to all those affected. And most importantly, on May 18th, we will never forget. Thank you.